Hey, good evening, everybody. It's me, Lynn Rene MacDonald, coming to you from the Copper Dragon and the Institute for Christ Consciousness here in Virginia Beach. We have a studio audience today. We have Wendy here. We have Leisha. And what's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica's here. Steve is here as well. My classic traditional accomplice is Rachel, and she's here with me now. We're here live, and tonight we're here for live talk forum with me, Lynn Rene MacDonald. We're going to wait a few minutes. We're going to do some saging. We're going to do, we put an ad out that talks about what we were going to do for this week and talking about where your Venus is, where your Libra is in your chart, okay? And this is huge, okay? So we're having great transformation right now for the planet, and everybody is moving into their heart spaces, okay? Depending on what level of God or love energy you are at. So tonight, we are going to talk about your Venus in astrology, what placements it is in, right? And we are also going to tell you the information that I get from Spirit or God or love energy about where and what is going on in your soul that that means in that placement, all right, or in these placements, aspects that are going on with you. Because Venus, your Venus, right, where your Venus is the story of your really love life, your relationships, right? So that said, many of you, all of us, old world souls, have lots and lots of stuff that we need to heal. And tonight is a variation that's going to kind of blow the doors off of everything. It's so radical. While I thought it was going to be one way, wait till you hear the story that is the story of the healing that's happening with me right now. It's really a miracle that I'm here today, as well as it is for my friend Steve over here, because both of us have been sick and like throwing up and not feeling super great. And that's because we are releasing stuff from our energy in our physical being. All this stuff, that would be why we would throw up, the stuff you can't stomach, right, in your physical being. So we're releasing energy both physically and metaphysically, okay? So tonight, we're going to talk about what's going on in the world right now with the transformations on the planet and being in your heart space, Christ energy, high-end teachers, your Libra and Venus, how everything relates. If you'd like to, you can send, hi Mark.
Hi,
thanks for coming, and thank you guys for all coming tonight. Thank you, thanks for coming. And how all these things relate to what's going on in your life, okay? And what's going on for you personally and in the planet, right, on the planet, and why what is happening, okay? And so it's complex, but we're going to have a great time. And then we're going to do readings and ask questions. But if you can, I don't know if Jennifer's coming down here. I'm going to ask God that she does and is able to join us and that she brings the shop phone. And if you guys would like to pull out your charts, you have the chart, you have the phone? Oh, okay, terrific. Okay, so Rachel has the shop phone, which is great because then you guys can send me a picture of your chart and I can tell you about your Venus placement, right? And about everything that goes on with this, and we can do a reading in that way. And it all pertains to everything that has happened to me and has been going on with all these releases on the planet and in ourselves, especially in high-end God spaces and all those teachers and all that high-end God energy, that high Christ consciousness. All of this energy, right, is here to transform the planet, the highest teachers, mentors, love energy beings, healers, everything, right? There's a whole progression of all that is God that is happening in 2022. It's a completion. So this is about endings, right, and new beginnings, right? Because 22 is the number 4. And what is the number 4? The number 4 is the number 2, which is partnerships. Right? So tonight, we're going to talk about massive healing of partnership energy and the toxic stuff that happens and the story, my story, to explain it to you because every single one of you have some form of this or you would not be here if you're that highest Christ energy. But all the souls on the planet are going to be switching or gravitating into their hearts. All right. So this is about massive healing of the self, living your dreams. And it's all based on your agreement before you even came in here, right? And getting to the bottom of all that is going on so you can move into your heart space, right, with the planet. Because how we're going to really change the world, excuse me, is you can't fool God, right? So everything that is God is love and is metaphysical, right? And it's about going within. So while the dark side, right, and what they're doing, they're trying to control the world, and you know, the Bill Gates garbage, and the shots, and the shot shedding, and the CCP, all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world, and the people getting crazy and wild, you know, about their freedoms taken away, and them trying to control the world and destroy everybody's business, right? Well, you know, it's clear that this is going on, right? You can tell by what is literally happening in the world. You know, so you believe what you want to believe, but at some point the truth of God is going to smack you in the face, because that's how it really works. The God's honest truth, right? And this is what we do and teach here, and this is why we're here tonight. And this is why universe has really taken the bull by the horns with this, because I'm going to share some amazing shit. We're going to do chart readings for you. Excuse me, and tell you not just where your best partnership is, but we're going to teach you about the truth of God and love, because we are here to change the planet. We are the superheroes of the universe, right? So we have come here to heal our hearts, to take our hearts back, to be in our heart spaces, and to live our greatest lives and raise the vibration of this planet. So while they're thinking they're going to torture everybody and you're not going to have nothing and they're going to control everything, fuck them. Fuck them. Because the truth of God and love is it comes from in here. So all these changes are in us. So there's going to be, you know, waves, and there already is, of energy, which has been going on for years now, that have brought us to this point. Clearings, healings, changes, love energy, you know, influxes to release stuff for healing, both subconscious energy, energy that's buried in our physical body, energy that's somewhere in our souls, subconscious, heart space, soul energy, because your heart is your most powerful gifts, your heart. It is your passion. It is your strongest emotion. It is love in its purest form, right? So this is why we're talking about this tonight, and we're going to talk about this because it's so fucking crazy, right? So if you all would like to pull up your charts, right, and I'm going to get to who I can, and we can continue if we don't have enough time here tonight, next week with these readings, because a lot of people are in earth world spaces and they're like, well, I just want to know what my partner is, because instantly I say that, you know, we're going to look at Libra and Venus and Libra and Pisces and Libra and whatever sign you have it in and what placements are there. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in your chart, right? And most people in earth world, and not that this bad, yeah, we all kind of are human and we all want to have a partner, but what everybody misses when you're this spiritual being who comes to change the world from love, you got to be in your heart. And so these Libra placements for anybody who's here and watching, right? And into the future of what's coming for the earth, we are taking our hearts back. We are healing our hearts, because this is the energy that has to raise with the vibration of the planet to change this world. And it's all God. You see, it's all love. And nothing, anybody out here, Bill Gates, whoever the fuck weirdo shit is going on, right? Nothing they can do to stop it. Nothing. Because when you are in your heart, that's all the power of God, and everything fucking changes, right? So this is all part of the magic that's going on, and we have asked God for great things, all of us, right? You've asked God to do this, or be married, or have a new job, or have a new career, or be a powerful healer, or whatever in your reality you are asking God for. And variations of all this stuff, right? Whatever that is, right? This is the catalyst that is making these changes now. But you've come in here to do this work. It's called your soul's journey and your life path. And you picked your family, right? Your family to bring you to this space. Right? Yeah, what a joy, right? So because everything is energy. So people think, well, it's just in the energy of my family DNA. Well, no. If my mother has a baby that is illegit, right? It's in my DNA, right? And then my somewhere along my family line, right? There is the energy. My family comes and migrated here from Czechoslovakia back in the day, right? So they came through Ellis Island, okay? And so what happened with this energy is in this family lineage, right, this whole entire DNA and this family energy chain of God from Czechoslovakia way back when, right, that is in my family line, there is in the history a person in my family way back, like 1700s, right, who, this is really great, who had a baby outside of wedlock, right? Both of my fucking kids are outside of wedlock. Right? However, what happened is, rumor has it, that it was a gypsy band. And my mother says to me, that's what's wrong with you, Lynn. You're a gypsy. Right? And I'm like, whatever. What the fuck ever. But that's in the family lineage, right? Because there is an illegitimate child from way back in the 1700s to the 1800s, right? And that child has the last name, I think it's of Stasha, isn't it? Yeah, that has it's my great-grandmother's, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, my great-grandmother's last name, which is Stasha, right? So it's crazy because, all of this shit is really taboo, right? So, but this tells me the truth of the family lineage. So what happens is, right, I know the truth about what really happened with my mom and how I came into existence, right? But I'm not going to get into it because my mom probably has her own perspective of what she thinks really happened. And all she says is, I was just so in love with your father. He was so amazing. And then my father would say, I would ask my dad how they met and what happened. And he'd say to me, it's none of your goddamn business. Why would he say that? Right? Because back in the day, in those times, it was socially unacceptable to cheat, to have babies out of wedlock. It was like, what is it, defaming? Is that the word of your family lineage and shit, right? However, it's in the DNA because lo and behold, here we are in 2000s, right? And I did the same fucking thing. So, and I don't feel one shit and bad about it, right? Because my soul is crazy from love, right? It's been a wild soul, and this is who all we are, right? We're all wild souls, right? There's nobody who's going to tell you what to do, not if you can help it, right? Because this is the nature of God or love, right? This is the energy that we need to change the world, right? In our hearts, freedom at the highest levels of love, right? So that said, you can see that in the family DNA and in the lineage in my history, and most likely my children. And anybody who, what you are is what you attract energetically, can have past lives with me, right? Will have that, have a propensity for that, as well as my children, literally in this DNA energy that they have of my family, may also do that as well. Right? And again, nothing is bad. This is just truth of God. How you feel about it is what makes it well or unwell or toxic or good or whatever your perspective is. Because everything is an energy and or, right, is always an energy, but it can be part of your belief systems that you're consciously aware of or not, right? Yeah? So tonight, all of this and these placements with Venus in your chart has everything to do with what I'm going to talk about and being in your heart, because this is profound healing that's coming in for all of you guys and everybody into the future in different waves in this reality to get your heart back, to retain your heart in you, to clear, heal, and change and free yourself from all the toxic. But it is not an easy journey, right? Like I just said, I was like fucking like throwing up, gonna throw up all day, and for the last 2 days I have not felt good because this energy has been releasing in my physical body, right? So everything that's metaphysical and energy shows up in your reality. Everybody understand that? Okay, so this is what we're going to do tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I'm super grateful for everybody here in the audience. I'm going to ask really quick if anybody has any questions in reference to this, anything that they don't understand, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into one of my past lives, which is what happened with the energy work I did here just last night, right here in this chair with one of my clients and my people, okay? And this energy work is the start of this super powerful release, which I guarantee will be in your transit chart and or in your chart, in your houses, in your astrology at many different levels, because it will be through many different placements, okay? So, oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, guess who's here?
That's so funny. I was going to quick shove my face in the camera.
Go ahead. Nope. Show them here. All right, my sister won't do it. Okay, Jennifer's back. Yay, thank you, Jennifer, for coming. All right, she bought me a great tea, too, right? Okay, so before I start, did anybody send in their Libra placements?
Yes, Tamika sent her chart.
Fantastic. All right. The first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a look. As soon as I ask questions, if anybody has any questions about all this or anything that they want to understand, because this is all part of the revelations and the changes here that have to happen in Earth world, because you guys are the superheroes of the world, of existence, of galaxies, of God, of love, right? You're high-end Christ consciousness. You've come here to change the world at whatever level that you want to do, as well as heal yourselves. So this is about healing from lifetimes. And your Libra placements are all about what? Love. Right? Love, relationships, right? But what you're missing about that is self-love, right? And there's so many other things going on in here, and we think in Earth world we're just here for a relationship and a partner, and that's how it's going to happen, and we're going to live happily ever after. And let's be honest here, that's a fucking delusion, because the old world ways of that are no longer going to work for the new world, because we have to what? Heal our hearts. Right? Because, and everybody has to raise to that vibration for the new world. That said, I'm going to do a couple of Libra chart readings so we get people in, because the story I'm going to tell you tonight is complex and it's going to take a little bit of time, but it's fucking so profound and incredible that it really borderlines like unbelievable, quite honestly. So, and it's exciting, you know what I mean? It's really exciting. So before I start, anybody have any questions about anything that I said? Anything in the audience? Anybody in reference to all this?
No questions yet, just charts.
Excellent. So I'm going to be guided by stars, God, love, and answer those questions. So you have Tamika's chart right now. All right. And I'm going to do 3 of these, and then I'm going to see where we're at with everything. Okay. All right. So Tamika did hers on Astro charts. What's the one that we love that I always go to? What's my go-to? Astro Dienst? Is that it? Or Astro Seek. All right. So here's what I want to do. And I should have said this in the beginning, so I apologize, right? So if you could, people, I would like you to shut that off.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not put together.
That's all right. Thanks God for changing that now, right? Okay, so what I'd like you to do is look for, Rachel said we usually go to Astro Seek.
I think it's Astro-Seek, yeah.
Astro-Seek for free astrology charts. So do Google free transit chart so you can pull it up, because I want to take a look at the transits along with this. And I should have said this to begin with. This will tell me a lot, but a lot of different charts and a lot of different apps don't have the same exact times, and it's a little like funky. And it doesn't mean that Astro charts is bad. It's just that for what I want to work with, I don't know if you can see it, this weirdo, the light is kind of like, oh, there we go, I think I got it, is reflecting, the light is reflecting on there, but I would prefer to work with that to get you all the answers along with the transit and the aspects that are going on. So if you guys could send me these, and I'll do 3, and then I'm going to tell more of my story, and then we'll just roll with that from there with God. Is everybody good with that? All right. Okay, and thank you again, everybody, for coming. You can donate to us on Venmo and PayPal. I don't want to get into it and keep repeating the same shit over and over. It's like, boring, right? Okay, somebody must be sending something. Okay, this might be Tamika. I'm going to hand the phone to Rachel, and then Rachel can pull it up. You good with that, Ray? All right. And I need a little sage.
I think right now all we got is Tamika's.
No, I have Teresa Courtney Lloyd.
All right.
Okay. I mean on Astro charts. We only have everybody on Astro charts. Nobody sent the Astro Seek yet.
All right, so we're gonna give it a minute, right? And I guess this is cue for me to start talking as soon as you guys start to get those placements, right? Take your time, all right? And we can do this next week as well. If you don't get your answer today, don't sweat it. Ask God that you do get it, right? Because we're gonna talk about how you are in love relationships. We're gonna talk about who your best partner is. We're gonna talk about so everything from some of your issues to what's truly going on with you. So it's going to be kind of fun, because you're going to learn a lot, where you're going to meet your partner, all right, and things like that. So, and then, very well, possibly, we may get into what I'm talking about here tonight with my chart and the crazy shit that is happening. So, that said, anyone's charts come up yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so universe is telling me I'm supposed to be talking about this. So here's what happens. I worked with one of my clients right here last night. all right, and we were both sitting here, and we've been working on shit, and me and this person have had, in the last, oh God, like 2 to 3 months at least, possibly more than that, have had a really fuck storm of a difficult relationship. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? Now, I love this guy, but we have like been going at it and it's been crazy, right? So what happens is we're sitting here and we realize that we have these, over this course of this 2 to 3 months, possibly longer, we realize we have all this past life together that's super powerful. All right, we call it our Romanov lifetime. I don't know if anybody looks through history and looks at the Romanovs, right? You can read about the Romanovs, right? So this person and me, we're sitting here, and we've come like to a full circle, and we're in a much better space than we were, right? Because we have a personal relationship as well as, we're working together, which I wouldn't normally recommend, right? But all of this is guided by God for both of our best healings, because more often than not, right, if you're in my life and I'm in your life, we got past lives together, right? And the more intricate and detailed and tweaking the relationship, or positive and harmonious the relationship, that there's insight to all that and tells us all about what's going on in our souls and what's going on out here. Does this make sense to everybody? Yeah? Okay. So me and the gentleman were sitting here, and I said, man, you fucking hate this. I said, you can't stand this. You have a problem with everything. Everything's a problem. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he looks at me and he says, and he starts to cry and he says, I loathe myself. And I look at him and I'm like, fuck, right? Because somewhere in me, I loathe myself, right? So I'm like, holy shit, right? And the two of us are sitting here, and it was a profound, energetic moment. And I asked God, I said, God, why the fuck? Why? Like, why do we hate ourselves so much? Why can't we, be free of this fucking energy, clear hill and change it, and let us release this now, please? And we worked on it, right? And then he goes, and I go. And then for the rest of the night, right, I'm like totally multidimensional, all right? So my soul is like doing its thing with this energy, okay? So this is about self-loathe, right? And, right, hating the self in an energy, right, that may not even be apparent in our realities. In his case, he can't stand this, he can't stand that, he hates me, he hates this, he's never going to be happy, right? And it's so funny because I had a healer say to me years ago, right, way back when she saw a picture of me and my mother, and she looked at me and she said, who is this person over here on the couch next to you? And I said, oh, that's my mom. And she said, nothing you ever do will make this woman happy. And I was like, oh, that's rough. And I'm like, I know that. I fucking know that, right? I lived a whole fucking 50-some years trying to figure that one out, right? So the bottom line is that's what happens in Earth World. We try to figure it out. We bash our heads against the wall in physical Earth World, right? This is why we do what we do, so we can bring everything to God and get the God's honest truth and the answers, so we can what? Fucking heal this shit, right? But if my mother is never happy with anything, where is that in me? You want me to tell you where it is? It's in my fucking physical being, right? It's in my leg that can't walk. It's in my fucking feet that are aching. It's in my black and blue fucking hard finger, right? It's in my crotch, right? I mean, it's fucking flaming, right? And I'm like, who says this on fucking, Facebook? But the bottom line is, all the sicknesses and all the symptoms that I am having are completely to what the fuck is going on in me metaphysically, right? This is some crazy ass shit, right? So, and I have to say to myself, well, where in me is that? So my soul decides that at some point it stops all those feelings, all that energy, all that stuff that it doesn't want, it can't even. The pain of hating oneself and the fear and the toxic of all the shit tied up in that is so bad that my soul says, oh, let's put that over there. I'm not dealing with it today. Because why? Because it fucking hurts, right? Yeah. So this is incredible, amazing work, right? So, and this has gone on for lifetimes. This is your 12th in your first house and your rising sign, right? Not to mention everywhere else that's going to be repeated in the placements and the aspects of your astrology, as well as in the transit chart, the subconscious chart, and multiple formulas of astrology that are like, that truly, not like, that are the layers of your soul, right? Neat fucking shit, right? However, the last few days, me and this sickness has been a bitch for me. You guys know that, right? So all of us are going through some kind of our own personal challenge with this, whether we realize it or not, subconsciously and consciously. And all of this, guess what, is coming for all of us at whatever level it is, and whenever you are ready to do the work, right? But it's coming. So my job here was to give you a heads up, because you will be doing this work, whether you realize it or not, and we're going to look at your charts, right? But I'm going to go back into this story so you get the full scope of what happens. So there's a lot going on here with this life as a Romanov, right? Apparently, he was a czar. Is that not right, Sophia? Yeah. He was the czar. It turns out that the czar, right? And you don't have to believe this shit. You know, I don't really care what you believe, really, from love. My job is to get you the God's honest truth, and your job is to talk to God and wrap your head around it so you can get to the God's honest truth for you in whatever space of God you're in, right? So I'm going to tell you this because this goes back to my lineage in Czechoslovakia. This goes back to my grandmother hating the fucking Russians and hating Joseph Stalin, right? So all these things about this lifetime are somewhere present in my reality. And the people in my soul circle are all part of this, right? All of them, right? Whether it's my family that I have now or my soul family, right? You have relationships in lifetimes with everybody, just like me and the gentleman that I was sitting here with last night. It turns out that he was my baby, right? And he was actually the boy Romanov king, right? And what happened was, I was the girlfriend that they tagged as a whore of the king, and that king is actually one of my exes in this lifetime. Crazy shit, right? And I have multiple lifetimes with him, and this is a twin flame soulmate relationship. So this is all about metaphysical. Everybody see that? Crazy shit, right? Incredible stuff, right? So this gentleman sitting across from me as we're doing this healing work together, we both realize that, you know, this is big shit. We clear this out. He leaves, goes home. He texts my sister in the morning and he goes, I'm really sick. I'm throwing up. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. And I'm going, I know. I'm like, I fucking know what's going on, because you can't have massive transformation in all that you are without having some stuff go on in Earthworld. And the heavier the shit, the bigger the challenges, more often than not, right? So this is about relying on your God space. This is why we do and teach what we do, so you can be in your heart, you can work with God, and no matter what the fucking challenge is, like this shit, right? Because this is really fucking challenging, right? Emotionally, I was a fucking mess, right? And so that's what I felt like, right? But if I didn't have God, right? And what I did is I left here and he left. And I got in the car and I got my daughter from the shop, right? She says, Mom, can I ride home with you? And we sit in my Jeep and we're sitting there. And she's like, Mom? And I'm like, what? She goes, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. She goes, your energy is strange. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's multidimensional because my soul is releasing stuff. My soul is figuring it out. So I'm like here, but I'm like not here. And I'm getting waves of releases of energy, right? And what is that energy? That energy is like massive sadness. Massive sadness. Well, think about that. This fucking baby, that's my client in this life, is ripped away from me. I never get to see it, have a life with it. And what's crazy is I'm so disconnected to him, right, in this lifetime, right? But he, right, is in a different space of it than I am in his delusions, right, which is all in his chart, in his Libra sign, right? But I'm disconnected and I'm going, why am I disconnected from this man? He was my baby, right? And then I realized that the karma here is that I have to raise this man from a baby as an adult baby in this lifetime and help him get his life back. How fucking crazy is that? And I'm going, I don't want to fucking do that. Is that insane? Yeah. The nature of karma and energy is so incredible. I'm like, okay, Great. And the older the soul you are, the more complex this shit gets. So here's this man who is like an adult child in some way, shape, or form, right? And he's always had people take care of him. And in this lifetime, I won't allow that. I won't take care of him. And why? Because your mother doesn't let you get away with shit. And I was his mother in that lifetime. And we didn't get to have that relationship. How crazy is that? So this is about some Uranian fucked up karma, right? It is what it is, right? So part of our soul agreements in this lifetime is to heal that, release that, change that. But this must be done in multiple different ways, metaphysically, but also by doing in Earth World. So he has to go on his own. He has to get a plan. He has to make a plan and be an adult and be a man, right? And be a man to heal this. And this is the shifts that are coming in Earth World for all of us, right? Some stuff needs to be released in Earth World. That's Saturn. Because when we don't get it, just like we've talked about DWI and addiction in the past, when you don't get it, universe and your soul bring it right to you in Earth World. And woo, it's tough, right? It's fucking crazy, right? And this is more of that. And don't think for a second that I haven't been praying on this for what seems like fucking lifetimes. And also what is in this lifetime seems like fucking years. I'm like, God, what is the answer to this? Jesus Christ in heaven, I need your help here, right? So I'm always talking to God to get these answers, and I'm sitting in my truck with my daughter, who is lovely, right? And she's sitting with me, and I just said, Madeline, I said, can you just chill with me for a minute here? And this is good learning for her too, right? So I tell her the story, and I said, and what came in from the universe, because I'm asking God all these questions. Why am I so disconnected? Because I didn't have the chance to bond in that lifetime with him. He was ripped from me, right? And it turns out that if you research the Romanov lifetimes, right? You research the Romanov lifetimes, the baby who was the boy king who died as a child, right? Which makes sense as to why this man who was him, right? And or has a lifetime exactly like that, right? Because this happens in various different ways, multiple different ways, right? So, but for all purposes here that God guides me to tell you, this is what I'm telling you from love, truth of God, okay? So this man died as a child and never matured for lifetimes, right? And part of this is that soul connection being ripped away from your mother. And your mother makes you accountable for the things that you do in this life. That's what a healthy mom does. Hey, this is not acceptable, right? And then I realized that I'm mothering everybody in my fucking life. And my biggest problem is with my mother. And I'm raging about my mother. And there's times throughout my whole life I hated my mother. And then I realized it's me not having the opportunity to be a mother, right? Being enraged about not getting to be the mother for this baby, right? But I'm totally disconnected because I never got to bond with him in that life. Because, right, the king totally took away all my power and took that baby away, right? Now my whole right side of my body has been fucked up now for fucking started in the beginning of COVID, right? With my crotch, of course. Because, why? As crazy as this sounds, right? Why? Because that's where the house of where your baby comes from. In your physical body, right? So this energy is in there. Here's the other thing. He totally dissed me, right? And it's my ex. It's one of my exes from this lifetime. And what's crazy is I never married him. He never married me. And he's done this for lifetimes, right? And then on top of it, he's been a liar, which is all part of the things that came to fruition as I realized all these things in this lifetime, right? My finger is black and blue. It's my fucking ring finger. Because the fucker wouldn't marry me, and this isn't one lifetime, and we've battled it out for multiple lifetimes. You would think that I would have put that together, it seems like ages ago. But here we are, because everything is what? In God's time. In God's time. When I have released everything and have the scope to understand and get it, and it is time, both in the collective and in my soul, for what the work I have done, this is when those things change and happen. Do you see what I'm saying? And this stuff happens, right? So I'm crying in the car, right? I'm having a moment. I'm like fucking suicidal. And my daughter's sitting there with me, and I'm having all these suicidal thoughts, and I'm like super depressed, super waves of sadness come in, anger, all this realization about the mother energy comes in, and I'm like, motherfucker, right? And I'm like going through this whole thing, and I said, my daughter's like, are you okay, Mom? And I'm like, look, I'm okay. Right? I said, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm releasing this energy. I'm releasing it, right? This is just what I've stored in my physical body, and I have to what? Get it out. And the older the souls, the more complex it is, the more high in God you are, the more of this crazy wild shit you got going on. Because it's not just about the lifetime, it's about your soul's processing, right? And everything from the beginning of all time that is you, that is intertwined with this. Right? Yeah, that is you. And the older the soul, the more complex you are, right? So, this said, this all happens, right? And this is all connected to me having Venus in Libra, Venus conjunct my sun in my 10th house, because healing this lets me fully step into my career, which is your 10th house, right? But until I heal the bullshit delusions of my relationship crap and all of that, I can't move forward, because my whole life, my sun is me, has been about making a man or somebody my partner and giving everything I got to them, right? Ooh, formula for misery, right? And we all do this in Earth world, and these are the relationship things that must change, right? So my whole life, I've had tons of relationships because I'm a Libra Scorpio, right? Never had a problem dating anybody, right? You know, and why, and always could date anybody. But the problem is, you know, I wasn't well in those spaces, and this is really designed to heal this stuff in me metaphysically, right? Because this man that is my ex is my twin flame and my soulmate, right? And as I grew spiritually, I didn't realize that, right? To the extent that I really all came together last night, okay? Yep. And the last 2 to 3 days, this energy has been releasing. So what happens now is I'm sitting there, I'm still releasing stuff, I'm putting all the pieces together, why I'm such a mama bear about my children, and how I get enraged if anybody wants to fuck with my kids. Ooh, because you're never going to take that fucking baby away from me, ever, right? So of course I'm going to have rage, right? So all that has to be released. So, and this isn't just one lifetime that this crazy shit happened. This is multiple. Me and him have like gone at it 23 to 27 lifetimes, and it's time for this to be healed. You know, he's thrown me over the bridge and killed me. I have, you know, done and been toxic shit with him in other lifetimes as well. And I'm not going to get all into those lifetimes. But those show you the truth. Multiple lifetimes, there was a massive soul connection in here, especially it being twin flame, right? And soulmate. But what's the funny thing about the nature of relationships and twin flames and soulmates is everybody thinks that that's the love of my life, and that's who you're supposed to and meant to be with, and you're going to get together and live happily ever after. I got fucking news for you people. That's not necessarily the truth of God. Now it can be, but it can't be without working with God or love. And these are the relationships in the new world that must happen, right? The changes that must come in, the relationships that must come in must be different, okay? So this said, all right, I have been a single mom with my 2 kids for 19 years. I want to say about 19 years, I think. My daughter's going to be 20. One of my oldest daughters is going to be 20 in this lifetime. And I never really had a relationship with anybody else. Like, you know, I kind of saw somebody a little bit, but nothing ever came of it. And I really didn't date people because I just wasn't interested, right? And I knew that my soul had a lot of healing in this area because I just became so over picking shitty partners. Why? Because I wasn't in a healthy space of me, right? So my soul's like, yep, not happening on a subconscious soul level, right? So what happens with this, let me just get a sip of my tea here. I haven't been with anybody, and this guy was truly the love of my life, honest to God. I've had other ones that, you know, because as a high-end spiritual being, you love so hard and so easy. That's also being Lumarian. That's also being Hadarian, Okay, so some of the challenges as us people, and also being a Christ consciousness lion and lion people, lion energies, this is who we are, because we know love like nobody else, and we have this amazing, incredible heart space which has sustained us through lifetimes and through shit like this. It's our God connection, right? So it's our connection to all that is God, and it is who we are simultaneously at the same time. Okay. That said, so we love hard and like nobody else, but when you fall off that fucking chair, it hurts like a motherfucker. Incredible intense pain, and everybody's ratio for pain and what's going on with their souls and their journey is different based on their individual gifts, journey, soul, right? That's the nature of God. We are all super special and super gifted, okay? And in these spaces, this is where we go and, we have to get to our healing to be the greatest selves that we are in this lifetime, okay? And let me just bring us back to where I want to go here with him and what else came in last night as I was sitting in the car, because as I said, I have not been with this person for lifetimes, and what has happened is I would be like, I just couldn't give my heart to anybody else. It was like, yeah, I'm just not into them. I'm not into them. I'm not into them. But at the same time, I couldn't release him. And I was like, why, God? Why do I keep holding on to him? Why do I hold on to him? And all this time I've been saying it's because I see his heart. And that's true. I've been seeing his heart. And his heart is so beautiful and so lovely. And then God said, I said, what the fuck, God? Why do I can't not let this man go? Why do I just have this soft spot for him and it just won't go away and I won't release it? I'm like, what is going on, right? And then I've talked about it in the past. Again, I said, I know that it's because I see his heart, and it's a beautiful heart, and I love that heart, and I see what he could be, and I see all the beautiful things that he is, but he isn't necessarily in that space, right? So I said, God, what the hell is wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? And let me tell you, I've asked for this fucking question for fucking years, it seems like, right? And then what happens is God says to me, he is your twin flame and your soulmate. The heart that you are seeing is your own. And I went, holy fuck! And I started bawling my eyes out, because what I did is I gave him my heart. No. And now I need to get my heart back. That's what this is about for the new world and the new planet. Pretty wild shit, right? I was looking at him, I'm like, this heart is so beautiful. And then I started bawling my eyes out because I didn't have my heart. I didn't have my whole entire heart in its entirety. And this motherfucking vampire has been sucking off of me for fucking lifetimes. And I gave him my heart. How many of you have done that? You never give your heart. Never. You can love somebody, but you never give them your heart. Does this make sense? Because your heart is the core essence of everything that you are. Your love energy space. Incredible shit, right? Incredible shit, right? So, I'm of course bawling my eyes out and releasing, and then the next day, which was this morning, I was really fucking sick. Oh God, I think I was gagging last night for 20 minutes, and my daughter was like, are you okay, Mom? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and I'm just praying on everything. I'm like, God, clear, heal, change, release all of this, right? And I knew that when my client and my friend, and I knew this morning that he was going through a variation of the same thing, because there is so much to this intertwined. All right? So why is this happening? Because it's time on the planet. It's the number 4, which is the completion, which is the number 2, 22, right? It's about partnerships. It's about relationships. It's about healing, which is the number 4, like I said before. And so we must heal our hearts. And at 4 is the end of cycles. So we are healing our hearts. Incredible stuff, huh? It's fucking incredible stuff. So it doesn't mean that I'm not physically working through it. And when I think about it, here's what else happened in my fucking reality, right? In my reality, right? I'm sitting here in this reality and I'm like, okay, God, I realize that I've been sick, right? And all this weird stuff, as we talked about, the physical stuff, right? I got all this physical stuff going on, and I realized that I've been the mother for everybody in my life, right? Because they're trying to show me where the fucking problem is, right? What lifetime, how it's hooked up into me, right? And then problems with my mother, hating being a mother, being in a power energy space, having a lot of anger and rage, right? And being a mama bear, like to the extreme that most normal people in Earth world are not, for my children and for my life, and being about freedom, because everything was what? Taken away from me in that lifetime. And this is about massive healing in this lifetime, right? With all of this. So it gets better. So last, because I know there's bits and pieces here, and we're going to talk about this more into the future as it comes in, because it really is fucking amazing. And thanks God for all these gifts for us now, please. So what happens is about 2 years ago, I adopted a rescue dog, right? And all of our dogs are rescue. And what's so fucking funny is, guess what? We have 4 fucking rescue dogs. And you know what? Everything is in my fucking chart. Everything from having 4 dogs, right? To the North and South Node, and the South Node being in Sagittarius and mysterious ailments, right? Because motherfucker, everything in your life is metaphysical. Everything. Doesn't mean you don't have to balance it, because I took every fucking vitamin, mineral, herb, cell salt. I went to like the extremes of the ends of the earth to heal this in Earth world. And nothing has fucking worked. And I'm like, all right. And everything I read and everything God's telling me is right on the money. Every fucking thing. Right? But here it is. This is why your metaphysical work is so important. So important. Because you can't get past those barriers, right? Until you go into these spaces, right? Not for the new world. So people will be crossing over if you can't do the work because it's too painful. But that's why we do what we do, is to help people and assist them through all of this, right? And to teach you the tools to get through all of this, to be your greatest you, to change everything in your life, to work with God. And that's what I do. And that's what I did. Okay, God, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Right? Why? What is it else? What else do I got to know about this? And what is all of that? From love. In the best way. From love. Right? And then they tell me that I went out to get this rescue dog, and she was in Tennessee, and her name was Love. Love. Fucking crazy, right? That's what I do. That's what I eat, breathe, live, sleep, do, teach, love. Fucking love. That's what Christ energy is in the purest form of it in this reality, right? Right? So this dog's name is Love, and I go out and get that dog, and that motherfucking dog we've had for like 2.5 years, and I have done everything on the planet to make that dog well, guided by God. And then I realize, right, and this is true, our pets are huge high-end spiritual beings that take on our shit. And as I'm sitting there, and I've been working on this dog's health for the longest fucking time, and most of my people who are close to me know about this, and all my dogs are sick, and everybody in my fucking family is sick, and we've talked about the mold stuff and all this crazy stuff because it's all intertwined and related, right? If you're sick in Earth world, everything is fucking metaphysical. It doesn't mean that you don't need vitamins, minerals, and herbs. It means that sometimes, no matter what you take, if you don't get to the bottom of the fucking shit that's going on, or the toxic, or the unwell that's going on with you, you can't change it. Right? And then you can hold for a little while. It's like modern medicine. Let's put a Band-Aid on it, and we'll help it for a little while with antibiotic cream. But then 2 weeks later, you have a different strain of bacteria, and now you need a different antibiotic, or you're twice as sick, and you're like, what the hell? Do you see my point? Because this is the shit that doesn't go away, and this is the time of the release for this on the planet. So all high-end spiritual teachers, beings, healers, all you guys, Christ consciousness, and all spiritual people will be going through this over time, next 2 to 3, 7 to 10, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 24, 26 years into the future, depending what level of God you are and what you came in here to do, okay? So, my dog Love, right? And I realize this because I have to take my heart back now from my ex, and that's what I did last night. I said, okay, God, thank you for returning my heart to me, right? Thank you for returning my heart to me. and it's completion, and let me be free of this. Bring my heart back to me, right? And that's what we're going to do tonight. Thank you, God, for that for all of us. In our souls, and all we are, we say, do and create, and all that it is. And the best way for us to know something better. And thank you, God, for that for us, if we so desire it, right? Because I just had a client earlier that was like, stop, Lynn, I can't do this work right now. It'll kill me. And I'm like, I get it. Okay, so you don't have to do it. But that's why I said, if you desire it, and this is what your soul calls in, this will happen for you. Right? But this is really about your greatest healing. But of course, my other client was sick, didn't feel good, and she doesn't want to throw more on top of that transformation bomb and make herself sicker. And absolutely understandable, right? So you have to pick and choose when this is best for you, right? So, but my soul is so crazy, radical, and wild, right? It does whatever the fuck it wants to do, and that's that Aries energy. And then it stops and thinks later about what it did, and then it's like, oh shit, why would I do this to me? But it has to be done. And this is the energy that we need, this warrior energies through this time. That's why I have so many fucking Aries placements right now. I got Aries conjunct my ascending. I have Pluto conjunct my sun, Mars conjunct Pluto. I have in my solar return chart for the year an Aries moon. I mean, so this is just super, super like crazy, right? And it's no accident because we have to be warriors for these times. And the whole world is going to have so much of this simultaneously at the same time that it is best for you, for your personal journey, as well as the world, because that's the nature of God. Everything fits in like a master puzzle piece. Really cool shit, right? Really cool. All right. That said, so I got this dog named Love. I asked God for my heart back. I got my heart back and I cried. And I was like, holy shit. That whole time, what I was seeing was my beautiful heart. And I had given it to him for lifetimes. And what is that? That's South Node Sagittarius, North Node Taurus. Is it Sagittarius? No, Taurus, North Node, South Node Scorpio, all right? And North Node Sagittarius. Is that it? No, wait. North Node Taurus, South Node Scorpio. And this is in my natal chart, okay? Scorpio Taurus is what it is. And in my natal chart, my life journey in my natal chart is in Taurus, in Earth world, right? My North Node is that, and my South Node is of the past, okay? So all of this is interrelated with this. So it tells me this story in my chart, because these souls are some, and it doesn't mean that anybody's better than anybody. You will have other placements that will equal this, because it's not just one placement that makes you great or at a detriment or have a toxic life. It's multiple. Right? That's what makes us so uniquely different. While the energy, me and Rachel may have the same placements, right? With this energy, they might be switched around. There may be other energies going on, but still, it's a variation of this same journey, or you would not be sitting here listening to this story or talking with me or chilling with us. Do you see what I'm saying? And already 3 clients of mine today, between last night and today, I've had to do this work with, right? The retaining of our hearts, getting our hearts back. But you know what was so crazy about the dog stuff? Is that I've been crying over this dog, man. In my people space, you know, I've been giving it to God, making myself fucking crazy with this as well, right? It's all part of being human, right? So when I have my moment, I have my moment. I got to release my emotions. This is what we're doing now. We're releasing that. And we're taking back our hearts so we can really, truly feel. So we can really, truly manifest. So we can really, truly make the world a great place. And be our greatest selves and live our greatest lives and our greatest dreams and truly feel love for ourselves and heal all those deficits in our physical as well as everything that we are. Incredible, incredible. I can't say it enough. So then I'm sitting in my car and I'm like, wow. And then I come inside, and I'm not sure when exactly it was, because I've been coming in and out of consciousness. And when I say that, you know, it's like it's multidimensional, and I'm used to this, right? But I still work with God all the time and to have a handle on everything always, or work with love all the time. And so what happens is, before I go into the house, and I'm about to get into the house, I think it was, I'm getting out of my Jeep, and they said to me that the reason I went to get my dog Love was because it is her heart, and I'm going to cry, that has sustained me all this time, in this lifetime. She is literally giving me her heart to keep me going. Talk about wild, just wild, right? And I'm bawling my eyes out because I know this is true. The dog can't be well because she's like mirroring all of my symptoms and giving me the same, what is it I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? And she is having the same stuff I'm having in her physical energy for the last 2.5 years, right? Incredible, right? So this dog is a super high-end being. Fuck, that's why I went out to get her. Her name is Love. Having love for me. How much more obvious could this fucking be? Right? I gotta be like a fucking dunce cap. So now, all right, stop it, Lynn, stop it, right? Clearly don't change that, right? Because I'm like, how many times could universe fucking show me the truth of everything? And I'm banging my head on the wall, asking for it all the fucking time, right? And it's not coming in. And then I let it go, and it comes in, and because it is time. So Love has been sick, and I did everything guided by God and the sun and the stars and earth world to change it. And I knew the answer was metaphysical, but I didn't know what. And finally, I was like, I looked at her chart a billion fucking ways to Sunday, trying to figure out, oh, maybe I got to work on her energetically and do this and where we're connected and all this shit. And what's so crazy is all her placements are in the second house, which is where my intercepted house is. This dog's destiny is with me. How fucking crazy is that? It's incredible. And then to top it all off, right, my second house and my 8th house are intercepted in my astrology. And my second house is Taurus, which is how I have to unlock the key to that mystery of why my house is intercepted, so I can really truly be everything I came in here and ask God to be, as well as heal me. Because that's my North Node. My North Node is Taurus, and it is locked up in my 2nd and 8th house, in my Aquarius energy and in my Leo energy being intercepted. And the dog is all tied into my chart. It's fucking amazing, right? But I've been looking at it 17 billion ways to Sunday, trying to figure it out, right? And it's so wild because I couldn't get to it. I said, okay, God, where is it? Where is it? What about this? What about this? What about this, right? Making myself nuts about this, right? Once again, I'm being taught about God's time. God's time, right? Not Lynn's time. God's time, right? Right? As brilliant of a God being as we all are, right? Visionaries, right? Visionaries. Geniuses in our highest heart selves in our hearts, right? You know, everything is God's time. And this is all part of that mission, not when Lynn wants, right? And Lynn's so used to being so fucking magical that she gets whatever she wants whenever she wants it with God. And this has gone on for lifetimes. And really, that's all of us, if you think about it. We live in America, the land of milk and honey, the land of dreams. Come on now. You know, we all are so super fucking blessed with so much. Everything fits in. Makes so much sense, right? Yeah. And we are all these people, right? All right, so that said, the dog's name is Love, and now the healing will really begin because we've had to cross these crossroads to get there, and it's so crazy. I probably would say, about 50 different kinds of dog food to get this animal on, and it's been so insane, guided by universe, right? And it's so funny because this little dog, Love, we have a nickname for her, and we call her Buggy, right? And she eats bugs, right? And she's highly allergic to fucking everything because of her sickness, right? Because her heart is my heart, right? So what do you think? We find this food called Wild Earth, and the veterinarian says to me the other day, she goes, you know, that's bug protein. And I was like, what? And it made so much sense. The answer was in front of my fucking face the whole time. The dog's eating bugs, right? We call her Buggy. I'm like, what the fuck, right? Insane. So incredible and so amazing this stuff is. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, right? Because we're all going through this and we'll be going through this in however ways that this will happen. But my Libra and my love energy placements that are related to Venus have everything to do with this. Okay? Because your Venus is about love. Libra is about love. Your relationships, right? And about love in the grandest form of it and all ways of it. And that's in your relationships. So many of you people, that's why I said, let's look at where our Libra is, our Venus is, our placements of love energy in our charts, because this will lead us to those answers. But get ready, because yes, we can have and be with our greatest partners, but it will not be without doing the work. And sometimes, right, our twin flame soulmates cannot be our partners, and more often than not, 53 to 57 to 93 to 98% of the times they cannot be, because they're not evolved as you are, or somebody can't do the work, or they're not ready, and that's okay. Because here's the deal with God or love. You heal this in you, you can have your greatest partner no matter who it is, right? And what does it really matter if it's that twin flame soulmate? And it could still be. But really, this is about getting your head out of what you think should be versus what is truth of God and love for your greatest partner and your best healing, right? So that said, there's one more thing that I want to go back to the chart with the dog as well, because the Aquarius intercepted is actually, right, this gentleman that's my client. He's an Aquarius, and that's him in my second house. That's literally him in my second house. And then that's because that was the key to the doorway to open this in Earth World. Do you see? Neat. However, here's what else. The opposite is that Leo house. That's my heart. Your Leo is your heart space. And that was intercepted. Why? Because I gave my heart away. And I had to go through all of this to figure that out, to get the keys to my future destiny and heal me and live my greatest life. Wicked, cool shit. But in the meantime, it's going to take me a little while to get like physically, but I'm going to pray, clear, heal, and change that and keep working with God. But now everything is going to keep going in the direction. And if there is more stuff, universe will tell me by what's happening in my reality. So it's really wild. The oldest, toughest, amazing, magical souls have the biggest amount of crap in their lives, but more often than not, and more often than not, are the super most magical from lifetimes, right? Because we're the first souls that ever existed, right? From the beginning of time of all that is God, right? And we came off, and then we had a really great day, and we're like dancing around. This is the image they give me, and it's really fucking funny, right? And then all of a sudden, souls that were in a lesser space of love came in, and then they started doing things that sucked and things that were shitty, and we were like, uh-oh. Because now our little party is over of happiness and love energy, but this is who we are. This is the journey we came. This is why we're the superheroes of the universe, and we're here to change this world. And how cool is all of this shit, right? It's just so incredible. And people might say, well, how could she even fucking say such strange stuff? But I can tell you hundreds, probably infinite amounts of stories that go all along this, which show you the truth of the reality in everybody's past lives and in your life. So pay attention to what happens. Talk to God all the time. You want to get to the best healing, the best life for you, there's no better way. It's about working with love all the time as much as possible. That's why we're doing this, because those fuckers are going to try to get us. But man, all the pain and suffering that souls like us have gone through, there's nothing you can't do to us. That's that Aries energy, man. They will come through the fucking hellfire, like if you saw what's the name of that the Daenerys in that movie where she comes through the fucking fire and she's not burnt, right? Yeah. What is the name of that? Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. That's us. That's us, right? Okay, so that said, what time are we at? I just wanted to share that with you, guided by higher knowing, because this has everything to do with us tonight. All of the extra rest of our placements, like we're going to do some charts and we're going to work with everybody. And if we do not get to all of these tonight, we will do more next week. So if you didn't get it, say, hey, I was on next week or last week. Could you please do my chart? And we'll do our best to get to you, okay? All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my story. Incredible, incredible stuff. Does anybody have any questions about it? And if you don't have a question about the love energy thing and you just want to ask any question, always, we are open to whatever you want to know from love, okay? All right, so thanks. Let's go.
You have your charts?
What time is it, though?
It is 8:18.
Let's roll.
Tamika's first.
All right. Oh, and she wrote her name on the bottom there. How cool is that? I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty cool. Can you see it? Can you see if everybody can see it, Ray?
Yeah.
Stop fucking around.
She's a bad girl tonight.
I know she is. All right. So, Tamika, what do we have here? All right. So the first thing I'm going to look here, Tamika. Hi, Tamika. First of all, thanks for coming. So glad. Fucking love you as always. Let's see. All right, so your 7th house is your Libra, and you have, in other words, 7th house is the natural ruler. Venus is the natural ruler of the 7th house, so that's your house, that's Libra, okay? In this particular case, how funny is that? You have Aquarius in there, Aquarius energy, and it's so crazy because you have Jupiter conjunct your descendant right there, and that's in your natal. But you also have Jupiter touching or conjunct, your transit Jupiter conjunct that placement right now. So when I look at your 7th house, it goes back to your first. The 7th house is your house of relationships, and that's Venus in Libra. Your first house is the house of self. That's your Aries house. These are counter opposite signs, but in a healthy space, they can work together in the best way from love. Okay, depending on the God space or vibration you are at with love energy. That said, interesting enough, oh, this couldn't be more funny. Ascending, Leo, heart space, girl. Your ascending is in Leo, right? That tells the journey, right? Aquarius on your descendant, Leo on your ascending. Your ascending is your lifeline, your story in this lifetime. What's funny is you have Mars too on your ascending, girl. You must be feeling that power energy, right? Woo, right? Kind of like when the king took my baby, that whole right side of me is why I have all this pain and sickness on the right side. That's my power energy. The king stripped me of all my power, took my baby, right? So that's why it's in my physical reality here in that way. But you will be feeling lots of power energy. Okay. All right. So here I'm going to look at your Venus. All right. Your transit Venus right now is in Cancer, and that's your natal Venus is on really conjunct the 11th and 12th house. So this tells me you got variations of the same thing I got going on here. I'm sure you can relate, right? So your Venus in Cancer, your Venus in Pisces, your Venus in Libra are your most and Venus in Leo are some of your most toxic. Hold on, this is coming out. Love energy delusional placements. So you're all about family, girl. You're all about love. And the fact that it's in your 11th house and your 12th house, that's Uranus, and your 12th house is past lives, right? So past stuff, right? You got that going on, right? Also, you have your moon in the 12th house, and that's about, moon is the doorway to your emotions. That's about hardcore emotional healing. So you will meet your partner through different relationships, different groups, different humanitarian work, right? That's the 11th house, and also by going into your past life, right? In other words, the 12th house of Pisces, right? You could meet them through, when I say the 12th house is Pisces in its natural 12th house, but you could also meet them through family relationships, as well as, since your 12th house is in your heart, through being in your heart, right? So these are all the different ways that you will meet the best partner for you. But this also requires massive healing, right? And that's that Cancer in the 11th and 12th house, because Cancer is about family, it's about love, it's about security, right? And also you have that Venus there. So this gives you a propensity to be a little delusional in relationships, right? So if you have any of these placements, that Venus in Cancer, Venus in Leo, Venus in Pisces, Venus in Libra, you're going to have some challenges. Also, where you could meet your partner has to do with your heart space. It could be at family events, right? And it could be soul families. It could be doing humanitarian work, right? But because you have Gemini in there, it could be through public speaking. It could be through some kind of work-related event, okay? Because that goes back into the 10th house as well. So these placements pull all of this forward. So there's lots of opportunities for you to meet your partner or a new partner, and you may even realize that you've met them already in this lifetime. Like I have my Venus in the 10th house, right? And it's conjunct my sun. All my life I've met my lovers through my work, right? Through my work, through the work that I do, whether it's this work or working in a bar or earth world work, working in a supermarket, right? I've met all of my partners, right? Because the house usually tells you where it is you're going to meet your partner, if wherever your Libra or your Venus rather is, right? But all these things also play a role because they affect all the other houses. So there's a propensity for all of this as well in here. Okay. In other words, it could be related to Leo and your heart space and doing what you love, right? And so I feel that is on your ascending because your greatest partner is going to be when you heal that. Okay. So whether you're with somebody or not, this is, you're going to come to crossroads. And I think we've talked about this somewhat before, of being in your heart. That's where your best partner is, right? The other placement, yes, they can come through that, but there's healing to be done here, and that's Aquarius and the Leo, and it's about changing the way we think about being in our hearts, working from our hearts, seeing things differently, okay? So this is all parts and gifts for you of where you can meet your partner and for your best healing as well, for what you would call, if you choose to go on this journey, right, your best partner from love, okay? All right. And if you have any more questions in reference to that, girl, let me know. And again, your moon is in this area and your transit Venus is hitting your transit Venus. So this stuff is coming up for you, and that's why you're at our show today, because this really resonates with you. All right? Okay, girl. Love you. All right. Who's next?
Mark's next.
Mark, like that Mark?
Yeah.
Are you leaving, girl?
No, I'm just standing. Sorry, my legs are falling asleep.
Oh, okay. No worries. Okay. Okay. Oh, Mark put his name on it too in purple. Did you do that?
I did that.
Oh, see, Rachel's keeping secrets from me. All right, so it wasn't Mark and it wasn't Tamika. It was Rachel who put the purple on there. See, there's Mark's name. This is Mark's chart. All right, so let me see what comes in for Mark. And also, look at your vertex, because your vertex is a person, place, or thing that changes the course of your life, because this will change the course of your life, this work, okay? Whatever it is, wherever your vertex is, look into that house because it tells you what's coming, all right? It's more aspects that tell you what's coming. What's a vertex? It's the VX in your chart, right? So Mark's is in the 8th house in Cancer. Do you see it there? See that little VX? Kind of like, it's above where my thumb is. See it? Yeah. So that's where Mark's vertex is. That also will play a role. And while it's just chilling in Cancer, right, Cancer is what Mark wants. He wants a home. He wants a family. So that tells me there's going to be massive transformation in his ideas of home and family and into the future and in his dreams. And that's the 8th house, which is Pluto, or Scorpio, which is transformation. And Pluto is the natural ruler of the 8th house. And when the co-ruler of that is Mars, or Mars energy. Also, Mark in the 2nd house, you have your transit vertex, and it's being nailed by Jupiter. So, who did you give your heart to, Mark? Think about that. Yeah. Right? Because this is profound healing. All right, and it's in Capricorn, right? You have Neptune in the 1st house, but it's almost conjunct your 2nd, it looks like. All right. Let's go, and that's the 8th and the 2nd. All right, I'm going to take a look because I need to keep these things kind of a little shorter for our time. I see you have Venus at 4 degrees in your 3rd house, which is the house of communication, and it's in Pisces. What's in Aquarius? The natural ruler is Aquarius of your 3rd house. And it ends in Pisces. And your Venus is in Pisces. So this makes it that you are going to have challenges in communications with your relationships, which I think you know, don't you? Yeah. So challenges in communication, delusional communication, and the opposite house of the third house is the ninth house, which sets you free, and that happens to be where your Leo energy is and your Virgo. And what's funny about that is your brother is a Virgo, right? So this has to do with healing with him as well, which is neat. So you are most likely to meet your lover through communicating with other people. The third house, travel, right? Communication, short-term travel. And everything in the third house you should look up, because that's where your biggest probability to meet that person is. But what's crazy is, or it's one of your big probabilities, it's not your biggest because it's a number 4. 4 is completions. So this is about you healing your communication stuff to have your dreams happen in the heart space. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's why that's a number 4 there in the degree. 4 is about completion. This is what you must heal, is your heart in this space to have the healthiest, best relationship, and that's the third and the ninth house, so to be free of that. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So any questions about that?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So who's next?
Teresa.
Okay.
Transit?
Not yet. We're working on it.
Okay. Is Teresa's just natal chart okay?
It is, but you're going to get a better reading if you have
The transit.
Do you want to go to the next person?
Yeah, we can come back.
Yeah. What time is it? I'm gonna because we can
8:30.
always. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then we got Jessica.
And let me just do some sage here. All right. Some wild energy, and we'll have some releasing energy from the sage as well. Anybody here have any questions that you guys are thinking about with all this? Do you see what we're talking about, Wendy? Can you see anything going on with you?
So are you when you just looked at Mark, were you looking at the transit part, or were you looking at the natal part of where the vortex and...
Well, the core healing of his soul in that particular case is going to be in the natal. It's the shit that he came in with. Okay, so that's in his natal chart. This is what universe tells me with this. So his Libra is in there, and it has to do with communication. So Mark would have issues from lifetimes with communication that have fucked up his relationships over and over and over. And then if I go and I look at the transits more, right? But I didn't look at everything. I'm just telling you what one of the biggest chunks. So when I do these readings here, they're really quick, and there's a lot more to it. But it gives me some of the biggest chunks of what is the most probability for things to go down for you right now in this moment with your chart, with God or love. And they're just pulling out the most practical, biggest like stone or gem for you to understand about you for your best healing, as well as where you would meet your relationship partner, and really pretty much that. Because my job being Capricorn, right, having a Capricorn moon, having Capricorn placements, my job is to get to the truth of God in the most practical, quickest, easiest, best way. So when I do these really quick readings, people are like, oh, well, that's not really nothing, or they might think that, right? But the truth is, that's what my soul does. It totally nails what you need to nail to remove the biggest chunk or get to the biggest amount of wisdom that you need for right now in your journey. And it'll get all the other stuff, but this is the tools that I'm using, or my soul is using for this right now for everybody. Does that make sense? Yep. So if you did a long, in-depth reading, we would go into all the shit with this, right? Just like when I was working with you before, Wendy, we were talking about all these different things, right? So it's the same kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if they wanted to do an astrology reading, but that's just to let everybody know. So those are tools to help them understand the core of what's going on with them. So the transit, I don't believe I read that with the transit with Mark, but because this is what came in as the most important part. Okay? All right. You good, girl?
Yeah.
All right. So who's next?
Jessica.
All right. Here's Jessica's chart. I don't know if you can see it. And we're going to take a look at where her Venus. Okay. All right, so your Venus is in Cancer at 19 degrees. 19 is the number 2, which is partnerships. So it's related to, again, this is numerology. If this is coming up in your chart, it's meant to be this way. 19 is the number of endings, new beginnings. It's the number, if you add 9 and 1 together, it's number 10, right? So this is the number, this is about partnerships in your Venus. 1 is the number 1, new beginnings. So new beginnings will be coming to you in your Cancer, right? So family, relationships are really super important to you. Having it in your 6th house, what does that mean? Your 6th house starts in Gemini, okay? So, but you also have, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, is that right? Just trying to see here. There's a little confusion about where your 6th house is. Let me just see from this. Thanks, God. Yeah, it's your 6th house. This is crazy. It looks like it starts at 1 degree in Cancer. So again, this will be very profound for you. You will meet your partner through, and family will be very important to you, and the biggest healing will come in through your relationships and love energy. Your best partner will come in from this, but this also requires, you have Mercury in there, so this is in your natal, so this requires the change of your thinking and the way that you see things in terms of relationships and family, and it's conjunct your sun, your Mercury. When your Mercury is conjunct your sun, what happens more often than not is it's a placement that you can't see anybody but yourself. So just be aware of that. This is one of the challenges, but how do you change that? Ask God to be free of it, right? So this is one of those things, just like when your sun is conjunct your Libra, right? Your relationships become you, right? Yeah, or your Venus, when your sun is conjunct your Venus, right? So your relationships become everything that you are. There's a propensity for that, but in a healthy space, you can change everything, right? So this tells me you have to change your thinking. The sun conjunct Mercury. In other words, this is about you being a different space of love energy and working on your soul, right? Because there's a propensity here, and please know that this isn't about offending somebody. This is about helping people to heal, right? So this is about being able to see other than the self, right? So this is about toxic ego sometimes, right? All right, but if we go across here, this is for your greatest healing. This is why I'm telling you this, right? But this makes sense because it's in the 6th house. It wouldn't surprise me, okay, if it could also come in through other people in your life. Universe is telling me as well. So it might not be that it's you. It might be that you are drawing other people into you that are controlling and manipulative, you see. So there's different ways to look at this. And I feel like you've had both because we kind of sometimes fluctuate in these energies within our souls so that we can heal this, so we can pay attention to it, so we get the message, right? In Earth world. So there's big healing here, but if you're not in healthcare, you're a healer by nature, okay? And your family is super important to you, and having a family and having the best family is super, super important to you. That's that Cancer energy. But also the 6th house is about work, everyday work. It's also about healing. It's about your health. So there's a propensity for you to meet your best partner through that or through something happening with your family, right? But this will transform you and change everything that would be toxic in here. And it feels like it will come to you in Earth world because your opposite house is in Capricorn, and your Capricorn, the 6th and 12th. Yeah, and that too, let me just see at what degree it is in Capricorn. Yeah, it feels like it's right at the same degree, like 1 degree, right? So yeah, because it usually will be exactly the same. So that 12th house, you also have Capricorn rising. So that's your destiny. That's about doing the right thing in Earth world. That's about revamping your values from love. Yeah, so let me just see. There's also moon. You have your moon in Aquarius in the 1st house. How wild is that? On the opposite is the 7th, which is your heart. And that's Leo. That's Leo, right? And that's your heart. So that, again, tells me a variation of the similar things that I had going on in me. I don't have my heart for me. I'm always giving to other people. Or I can't see that I'm not giving a shit about other people, right? Whether I realize it or not, sometimes there's a block. It's almost like a blinder because the sun is you and it stops you from seeing, right? So how do you get to the bottom of this? I feel like it goes back and forth right now with you because your soul is working on healing this. And this is good. This is good, right? So there's some good tools. It does feel like all you guys are going to work this stuff out. As long as you keep doing the work with love and asking God for the best healing, the best gifts, the best tools, the best of everything, and working with this love energy, there's nothing you can't do. So none of this is ever a detriment. It's just us that would believe in this, right? All right. And when you turn this around, right, then this Mercury conjunct Sun can become your greatest gift. And you're in the process of it. You got this. All right.
Lynn, before
Yes.
you move on to the next one, I'm a little confused. Are you looking at only the natal information, or are you looking at the natal and how it's interacting with the transit?
What I'm doing is I'm looking at whatever God guides me to.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
God astrology. Oh.
I was asking for a friend.
Okay. Yeah, so I know. Thank you. So that's why it's called God astrology. So we ask God for what's most important for your best healing, for the best tools, gifts, things that you need for right now in reference to this. Make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, I know,
Thank you.
right? You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so everybody got that? Okay, Rachel's going to help me with this.
This is Teresa's.
Teresa. Hi. All right. All right. What do we got for Teresa? Ooh, girl.
Thank you.
See you soon. Thanks. Okay. Okay. Best guidance, gifts, tools for Teresa from all of this, from love, best partner, best things for her. Okay, where will she or would she have met people in the past, and would she meet them now? All right. So it's funny, she has her Venus in the 5th house, which is Leo's natural 5th house, but her Venus is in Libra, but it's also conjunct Scorpio. So she has a lot of Scorpio energy going on here with this. Ooh, so Teresa, you're not a girl who loves lightly. That Scorpio energy is all wrapped up in your Venus as well as Libra, so you're not a girl who loves lightly. In other words, you're in it for hook, line, and sinker, right? When you've gotten to that space, there's nothing that you can't do, okay? So, and won't do from love, right? But sometimes that's a challenge in your 5th house. That's Leo, being in your heart. And the relationships, it's the 5th and the 11th. So you will meet your partner through like world stage, creativity, doing things through the world. If you haven't noticed, being creative, and that makes sense because you were in the water and the kayaks, and I talked about that one other time, and that's creative. That's earth world creative, and it's funny because that's opposite your Aries in the 11th house, your sign of Aries, and your Aries is your action. So you'll meet them through also doing things because it's the 5th and the 11th, right? There's also some big healing. Of course, I'm sure you know you have Taurus in the 12th house and your moon is in there as well. And your south node is in Taurus. Ha ha. And your north node is in Scorpio. Welcome to my world. Isn't that wild, man? That's crazy. So look into those because these are the souls that have some of the toughest, roughest lives, right? Let me give you an example of what that is, right? Jackie Onassis has, I believe, her north node in Scorpio and her south node in Scorpio and her north node in Taurus, if I'm not mistaken. And if anyone knows who Jackie Onassis is, she was the wife of JFK, the president, who, thanks God for the best words to say this, who was murdered, right, in Texas, right? And he was our president, and she was with him, and she sat with him and had to experience that whole thing. This is the kind of lives that South Node, Scorpio, North Node, Taurus people have. They're highly gifted, highly evolved spiritual individuals, and it's really amazing that she could even go through that, right? And that's, all of us have these gifts in different placements in different ways, but it's incredible the stuff that these people have gone through. There's another one. Who's the name of that princess that we've researched?
Diana.
I
I thought it was Diana. No?
No. Unless you've looked at Diana's chart, have you? No? Okay. Princess, the one that is connected to the Romanovs in the lineage or somehow like a distant cousin, you know who I'm talking about? Is it?
I do, but I don't know her name.
Philip's mom?
Is it Anne or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I think her name is Anne, but the bottom line is, I mean, she was heir to the throne. She had everything. She ended up being in an asylum, and she lost everything that she had, and she did humanitarian work. And here's the funniest shit. She said that she saw Jesus, and Jesus came to her, and I'm like, yeah! I'm like, but at the same time, the shit that she had to endure, like they fall from grace, they go back into grace, or they have challenges all throughout their lives, and this is all really who we are as these individuals and these energies. It doesn't matter if you have these placements, there are a million and other placements, a million and one other placements that you will have. But this is to let you know of the tough shit that we go through. And that's also why we would have so many Aries placements, because Aries is the sign that really fucking powers through amazingly. Right? So it doesn't mean that any of your other placements are not important. They absolutely are. But apparently this is what you needed to know for right now in this moment. Yes?
Let me open it.
Oh, yes. You got to open that up again. And this is for all of you. Look at your chart. Look at your north and south node. They tell you about you, your destiny, your past lives, what you're here to do in this lifetime, what you did in the past and have mastered in the past. That's the south node, right? And what you're here to master in this life. Okay. Okay. So, I see your Venus transit. That's transit. I want to get back to. Okay, so your natal Venus. Oh, okay. And then this also is conjunct your Neptune at 0 degrees in Scorpio in the 5th house. So this also creates delusional ideas with love. Okay, so this is something to look into as well. And let me see where your vertex is. Somehow that's coming in. Jen, would you do me a favor? Would you give me number 7 cell salts? My sinuses are really acting out, and with all this that I'm going through, and I just need to. Can you please give me number 7? Cali Sulf. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just getting some cell salts for me because I'm having like sinus issues, which is not uncommon when you have mold toxicity. One of the things it does is it attacks your sinuses. It's a great day. So my head has been flaming, hurting on and off. I had to pray to get here today. Wait, we just spilled them all over the floor.
You need me.
All right. Here's my cell salts. See them? They're little teeny tea pills, if you can see them. I do need all my people. I totally do. Especially with the shit I'm going through lately, right? Oh, God in heaven. All right. So, let me see. I was going back to Teresa's vertex. Thank you, God. All right. I see her transit vertex. It's in Capricorn. That's about getting your earth world shit straight. Transformation. But that's your transit one. And I feel you're working on that. Where? Thank you, God, for me finding her natal vertex. Woo. Okay. Her natal vertex is at 13 degrees in the 6th house, which is in the house of health. 13 is the number 4, and that's the completion. And it is also in your north node, which is Scorpio, which is where your Saturn is. So, in health is where your vertex is and some of your biggest transformations. It's the number 4. It's the number of completion. So there could easily be a catalyst in the house of health to transform, to transform you in this life. Yeah. So, and that's not unlike me, right? I'm having these health issues. Now, it could be a person in your life, or it could be many people in your life. It could be a pet. It could be something you love. It could be yourself. It could be some kind of transformation where you go and meet somebody out here that has to do with health, or you decide to become a healer and you're working with somebody, and that's where the transformation comes through that experience, right? So it's infinite and it's multiple. So when I say, oh, it feels like, you're going to have this in this house, look up the houses, people, because they will tell you more about the different ways that you can meet your partner or the challenges that you will have or the challenges that have the propensity to happen for you. But remember, very rarely is it literal in the way that you think in Earth world, right? Okay. That said, what else do I have for Teresa here, God, with this? Yeah, that's the 6th and 12th house. So this has to do with past life healing. That's the North Node. You have the North Node right now in Taurus. So you got a variation of the same things going on as I do. So there's some great healing, and I think we've touched on this a little bit as well. Anything else for her? Oh, and they're screaming at me. The 3rd house and the 9th house. So freedom is your head and your heart. You're Aquarius and you're Leo. Okay, girl? All right, so here's for you guys who can want to take a look more at her chart, right? Neat shit, right? Okay, how much time we got, Ray?
It is 8:50.
Okay, 8:50. We're going to do probably one more for tonight, if that works for tonight. And those of you who didn't get to do a little reading with this, again, remind us next week. Call and send it. We'll do our best. Plus, you can ask about it in the future, too, you know? Okay, so how about any of you guys? You good?
Wendy's sending in hers now.
All right, Wendy's sending in hers. What?
She goes, oh gosh.
All right, well, we'll do somebody else in the
I
meantime.
have Leisha's. Do you want to do Leisha's?
Oh, Leisha, you didn't even tell me. You sitting there
August
hiding.
10th, right? August 10th?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we got Leisha. Leisha's a bear. All right, there's Leisha's. You can see. All right. All right. What's the best guidance, gifts, tools, love, energy, magic with the placements and the things we're working on now? Please, God, for Leisha right now. God's honest truth of it. From love and... Whoa. Your Venus... I'm laughing because your Venus is conjunct your sun as well. Your relationship has been your world. Are you aware of that? Yeah. Yep. And she says, yep. And what's wild is it's in Capricorn. Capricorn is a fucking bear. All right. So you think about the house that Capricorn's in. Capricorn is the 2nd house. You can meet somebody through self-worth, through anywhere in Earth world, through your job, through work that you do. So I feel that you could meet him or a partner through your job, okay? And through beautiful things. And it's funny, your job has a lot of beautiful things there. Nice stuff is in that place. I've seen it, right? That said, there's a propensity for your partner to come in through there. Capricorn in the 12th and the 11th house is about relationships, humanitarian work, being in the public eye. The 12th house is about the past, okay? This is about getting clear with what the right thing to do is. That's what Capricorn does. The right thing to do in Earth world and being guided and governed by your what? Heart. Yep, your heart. She's like, as we all are, right? When it's us, right? All right, yeah. And then you have your moon in the 1st house, which tells me there's some emotional stuff to do with that. Huge meaning moon in 1st house is the doorway of self-love, right? So there's a doorway there. That's your Aries energy. That's the me energy. And it's crazy because your ascending is Aquarius. And, so. Yep. And your opposite, your descending is Leo. And your sun is conjunct your Leo in the descending as well. Is conjunct the descending in Leo, which is really interesting as well. So lots of healing here. And what's funny is Saturn just follows this shit everywhere, as well as Aquarius. Girl, you just another variation of the same shit I got going on, but you knew that. It's about getting clear with our delusions of self-love and our relationships of what we think is the right thing to do versus what is the right thing both in Earth world and metaphysically, and always being guided by our heart with all the decisions that we make. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you got this, girl. Is she leaving? So I'm going to have to rely on you.
Yeah, what you need?
All right. I don't know. Who's the next one?
Wendy.
Oh, Wendy. Wendy. Wendy's going to be my last one for tonight. Okay. Jen, could you also give me a number 5, please?
Oh, sure.
This is what God does. They tell me what I need for my best health, and this is what we're doing. So we're doing number 5, cell salts. This is all to help me heal what's going on in my congestive head stuff, right? And this is also about me not wanting to release my head thinking of what I think should be, and and this is all part of that healing journey. Okay, so here's my 4 more salts. All right, this is my number 5. What's my number 5? Calimur. And my sister is stealing my salts, right? She's over there taking them for her. How ignorant. Just messing. All right. This is Wendy, right?
Yep.
Oh, Wendy, my girl. Is this true that I see your Venus is conjunct your sun and it's right the fuck on top of it? That's no wonder you made your whole entire life about relationships. I said to you today, most of us don't talk to our exes, but you do. And you talk to all of your exes, right? And I'm like, holy shit, this explains it. Do you see?
All of them,
But yeah, your whole life is wrapped up in all your lovers. Yeah, but now we got your heart back. Now you're going to make huge transformations in you in the healthiest, best way. Thank God, right? So we can't be tormented by this bullshit that like makes us bang our heads against the wall anymore. Yay for you, right? And then, so now you will be in the healthiest. Jen, you got to help me. It's the Jen phone. Thanks. All right. Yeah, and that's in Gemini. So there'll be lots of relationships. Gemini is lots of, boom, explosions of creativeness, explosions. Gemini is like the most creative sign out there. And, along with Leo. All right. And then there's Pisces. Each one does things in a different way. One channels from its heart. Gemini is like headspace. All right. And Leo and Pisces is channeling like the etherical, I guess would be the word, you know what I mean? Like you get information coming in. So in different ways, right? And you can have variations of all of this. But the Gemini tells me this is about you having lots of relationships all your life. Saturn is about getting straight. You got the Saturn in there. And then this is also in the 9th house, which is about getting to your freedom. Cancer, you have the Cancer, and it's conjunct your Gemini and Cancer. So relationships are your world. Super important to you. You will love family. It's super important. Your relationships are super important to you. And as we said earlier, this is about getting your heart back for you, right? So you can be the healthiest you. It doesn't mean you don't have a good, healthy relationship. You have your healthiest one because you don't sacrifice yourself anymore. That's what that is. Does that make sense to everybody? That's massive because that void is now healing, right? Like when I get in that space of that energy, I feel my heart and it's right here. It's almost there. It's just going to take a little more time as that energy lifts and gets into the heart chakra, right? Green heart chakra. All right. I'm like, we need a little blast of fun right here, right? All right. So that said, Wendy, we've really pretty much talked about what's going on with you. Libra is your ascending, your whole life. Again, here it says it again, is about relationships, right? So Saturn being in there in your Gemini, and again, where is that little beast, that Saturn energy? Because Saturn is your earth world guide for karma and rules or universal law. Universal law in earth world is governed by Saturn. It's kind of like I may hate my mother most of my life or be angry at her or be pissed off at her, right? But in the end, my mother is my family and I must honor her. So I must do the right thing for her in earth world. And that's one of the things like that Saturn governs. Do you see? So Saturn governs your ideas, right, about what the right thing to do is earth world. Whether it's, you be courteous to people, you say hi to people, as well as your business code of ethics. It's everything. And everything in our lives is a balance. Why is it everything? Because it's in earth world and we are
In
Earth world, right? So it's a balance of that. So this is about changing your perspectives, getting more in alignment with love, right? Spiritually. And this heart, which is the metaphysical energy work, this is going to put you in alignment with that. And your whole perspective of everything is now going to change. Thank God for that for all of us, from love, if we so desire it. Thank you, God, for that for us.
Thank you, God, for that for me.
You good? All right, everybody. I hope you had a great time. It's a wild fucking show tonight, I feel. Thank you all for coming. We also have one more thing to announce, and that's our new show. It is already out there in advertisement. It's 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive. This is where we're going to get on and talk about everybody's health problems, issues, things you want to ask about related to your health to get you the best solutions from love. God, universe, right? What you do with them is up to you from love, but you will get the best guidance for you, and that's the 6 and 12 Medical Intuitive, not unlike what we did with the health stuff here, talking about this, right? Because healing is in everything, both in Earth world as well as metaphysical. So that's Friday nights at 7 o'clock. Our plan is to do it this Friday, but it all kind of is open door kind of because of the healing that I'm going through at this time. So I'm going to ask God that we facilitate it and it is complete. And thank you, God, for that for us, because it's been a bear. I don't need to be laying down for 5 more minutes being miserable. So can't do it. So free me from that now, please, God, from love. Thank you, God, for that for us. Okay, so Friday night, this Friday, we have that show, and then at 7:15, and next Sunday we got our live talk forum, which is here as well, and that's next Sunday night at 7:15. You can bring your charts again then, but also your questions. This was a pretty intense one today, so whatever God guides us to is where we go. Thank you. Much love. Thanks, everybody, for coming.